outside seeing them blooming. So that is very cool. Beautiful, beautiful. Looks like that one there has some health issues going on, but at least that one there is fully in bloom. This is a beautiful park that is a few miles away from our house, and I've driven past it many times and just never had the opportunity to stop. So decided to take some time today to get outside to do that. Again, just recharging. I have a virtual interview tomorrow for a part-time position that will just kind of help supplement my grief work. So I'm pretty excited about that. It will just require 3 days a week, short morning schedule. So very excited to work on that. And then here's some more of the beautiful colors in the plants that are blooming. And just taking some time to recharge my mental health and just to make sure that I too can continue to provide support to those who need it when and if the time ever arises. And here are some more beautiful plants in bloom. Gorgeous pink blooms. Looking to see if there's any other cactus that maybe have different color blooms other than the yellow ones. Looks like here's some lavender in bloom as well, which I just love lavender. No, I guess that's not lavender. Resembled it, so it fooled me. But whatever it is, it sure is beautiful. I'll have to research and find out what those are. I know in our park within our community, we do have lavender within our park. So sometimes I get lavender confused with some of these other bushes that have similar colors and leaves. So I'm going to come down in here and see. It looks like there's some more beautiful plants blooming. And then I also wanted to just further talk about the dynamics of losses and how, again, life is never the same after we lose our loved ones suddenly. At least one most difficult losses, again, that I always circle back around to is the loss of my daughter. Coming up on year 24 in August since we lost her. And there's so many things that have happened and changes that have taken place in the world. And yet at some point, even though my life has changed dramatically, there's times when it feels like things have just stood still, and even I find myself still feeling like I haven't really gotten over that huge hurdle. And then I remind myself too that with grief, sudden loss especially, it will never, ever, ever go away. And that's okay. The main thing is just reminding yourself that you can go on. There's so many things that you would have missed out on had you chosen not to go on with life. And I remind myself of that quite often, especially when I get a FaceTime call from my daughter or my son or my grandkids or my sisters. I remind myself I'm so glad that I chose to stay. There were times in those early hours after we lost Crystal that I was so tempted to really self-medicate, especially with alcohol. I really was tempted with that especially. But I reminded myself again that all I would be doing would be masking my pain and sorrow and grief. And that wasn't going to be good for anyone, especially myself and my other children, because I also didn't want them to think that their life wasn't as important to me and my love for them wasn't as strong as the love that I had for their sister, Crystal. So I chose that first year to not really have any alcoholic beverages. And year 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth and so forth, I've really maybe had a total of 10 drinks in the last 24 years. Just because, again, I didn't want to risk not only the fact that it would be so easy to stay drunk all the time, and then that takes its toll on your health. So I didn't want to go that route. And again, I understand though when many do, because it's so easy. Alcohol is one of the most easiest things to get your hands on. So it's easy to reach for it. It's easy to use it to mask your pain and sorrow, along with so many other substances. But I had to make a decision on that day and the days following how I was going to respond to losing my daughter, Crystal. And so for me, I chose not to go that route. I did use a few prescriptions from my doctor that were just strong enough to take the edge off of some of my sorrow, but I did not stay on that for very long either, because once again, when I went through grief therapy, grief counseling, my therapist reminded me of the fact that at some point you will be forced to deal with your loss, the loss of your child, the loss of a sister, the loss of your parents, the loss of a spouse. And so you can either choose to grieve full on or take time to grieve. But if you don't acknowledge those losses early on, at some point in your life, your body can no longer emotionally and physically contain that grief. So for me, I just chose to go ahead and deal with the horrible grief of losing Crystal. I liken it to when you first get burned. If you burn your hand on a stove or on a match or on anything hot, the burn is intense in the beginning, and then it kind of lets up, and then maybe for a few hours, maybe for a day, and then it intensifies again, and it continues that way for days until it's healed. But sometimes you end up with a scar from a burn like that if it's pretty bad, and that's kind of how I liken my grief anyway, is that I have a deep scar in my heart and within my soul that is never going to go away. But the body is so miraculous that when that scar heals, the body has a way of just protecting it through that healing process, and it just remains what it is, a scar. And so, for me anyway, that's how I like it. The sorrow and grief of losing Crystal, and then, of course, 7 years earlier, losing my baby sister, Shirley Kate, age 24. And then in 1991, losing my biological father suddenly. Those were all 3 really significant losses that have taken its toll on me on so many levels, but at the same time, it's also helped me be who I am today. It's giving me the strength to be able to be here for others, not only my family, but for those that find themselves trying to navigate sudden losses or losses at all. So anyway, just wanted to share a little bit of that today while I was out on my walk, and share some of the beautiful scenery. And wow, didn't realize they had this beautiful dog park here. I'll have to bring our little Sammy down here and let him get some fresh air and exercise. He would love it here. So anyway, that's just a little bit of what was on my mind today. So I wanted to share that with everyone. And if you happen to be watching this video and you find it helpful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share it. And as always, I wish you all an amazing healing journey. And again, this is #HealingWithGrief, #FollowMyJourney. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.